All right, guys. We are here. Good morning. Good morning. Whew, it's a big market day. We got jobless claims, unemployment, retail sales data, Philly Fed Index, and New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. And I think we actually got some more stuff. We got import-export prices, too, industrial production numbers a little bit later on after that. And then we got Patrick Harker speaking at 1 o'clock today. But a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff that drops at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So that's a bunch of stuff. We got a whole gang of reports coming out. And so, like we always do, we're going to cover them. We're going to stream it live. Let me, yeah, hit the like button on your way in. We appreciate it. Let me put my... Put this up. Jobless claims today. And the other arguably larger report is the Philly Fed Index. Or no, I'm sorry, it's retail sales. The jobless claims expected at 235K. Retail sales expected at 0.3%. We can look at core as well. Alright, we'll put this up on screen so you can see it. You can see the Q is pretty much flat today. NVIDIA is actually slightly red. It still hasn't made it back over that 120 level. I don't think today's unemployment data numbers are going to be more important than CPI. Not even close to more important. I think what makes, like, jobless claims are weekly, right? So they drop weekly. So they, they're not the biggest report, right? But I think retail sales is very important because retail sales is going to help gauge inflation, right? And in that regard, it's important. So yeah, we got to watch retail sales because, we're watching spending in this country right now because of all the stuff going on. And so we're watching retail sales. Jobless claims important. Retail sales important. The Philly Fed Index is a manufacturing gauge. It drops right at 8:30 as well. We also have the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index that also drops at 8:30, as well as the Import-Export Price Index. So we got like 5 decently large reports coming out exactly at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So CPI is still probably more important than all of this stuff, but these are still very relevant reports. I'm in Central Time. Where is Home Depot? Oh, Home Depot did negatively responded to earnings, but then rebounded a lot. Jobless claims became much more important than CPI. I disagree, Yair. I would say non-farm payrolls and unemployment data, like the unemployment percentage, are more important than jobless claims numbers by far, right? Like you could gauge it just by how many people tune in and how many people watch the stream, right? Like yesterday for CPI, we had over 5,000 viewers. We had like almost 6,000 concurrent viewers here for CPI. So CPI is still heavily watched. For PPI, we had 3,000. Right, so inflation data is still heavily watched because inflation is going to dictate what happens, right? Like Powell basically said they were going to cut rates next month, as long as inflation didn't spike. And so I think all of that stuff's relevant because people are looking at it in terms of inflation. I would love to say unemployment data today, the jobless claims weekly report, is more important than CPI viewership wise, because that would be great for my channel to get a ton of views today. But if I'm being objective, it's just, I don't know if it is. I would say the payroll number report as well as the actual unemployment percentage monthly report is much more important. Whether it's more important than CPI, it's close. I would still say CPI is more important, but it's arguable for sure. Oh, I mean, not more important. Yeah, I just corrected myself. They became much more important in general. Which day? It's still your phrasing's confusing, Yair. Nobody knows where Euro US dollar is gonna go. Yeah, I mean, Q is down. You can see the SPY is all but rebounding back up. Somebody said every time I see a video of a kangaroo, they're trying to fight or get in beef with somebody. Why are they so angry? Question mark. I don't know. So everybody's mad at the Australian breakdancer, and I think they should be, right? Like, they showed videos of this Australian breakdancer over the people that she won over, right? So, like, they showed these other people breakdancing from Australia that qualified for the trials of getting into the Olympics or whatever, and the other people doing it were way better than this lady. Like how in the world did they say, this lady wins, y'all lose? It just doesn't make sense in any objective standard. And so people are giving it heat now. They're getting upset. And understandably so. Like, this lady, and honestly, it's probably hurting this. Like, Rachel Gunn is her name, a.k.a. Ray Gunn. Just the corniest thing I've ever seen. Like, look. Okay. Let me think it. Like, I know sometimes other countries can copy off of the United States, right? But it's a pretty well-known thing that there's a little bit of a lag, right? Like, an example of this is in 2005, I was wearing American Eagle and Abercrombie polo preppy clothes because that's what the girls liked at the time. Again, if they liked pink bunny suits, I'd wear pink bunny suits. But I was wearing that type of preppy stuff when I was in high school because that's what the girls liked, you know? That's how it goes. Other countries started wearing that stuff a lot in, like, the late 2010s, or like the early 2010s, the late early 2000s, like 2009. Like, a couple years after everybody here started wearing that stuff, other countries started wearing it too, you know? So there's a little bit of a lag there in terms of, and regardless of what anybody says, right? Like, you get people who say all this different stuff from around the world, and I think America is really kind of despised sometimes, right? But regardless of what they say, a lot of them do mimic our cultures here. Like, all the different cultures in the melting pot we have, they mimic it, they copy it, you know, movies especially, and movies kind of set the tone for everything else. Anyways, the point is, this lady's breakdancing was corny, horrible, you know, and she shouldn't have won. And I feel bad for the people that tried out and lost their Olympics bid because of this lady, you know. They should look into it. I'm for it. Yeah, this is a big report. Jobless claims, unemployment filings. We got the Philly Fed Index. We got retail sales data. We've got the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. Really, Sal. I haven't been there for food in a long time. It's too stressful, but Walmart flying up right now. Look at Walmart, up to $74 a share. Is this earnings? This has got to be earnings, right? General Motors signs a solar-powered deal. Walmart posted 67-cent profit versus 65 cents expected. Revenue of $169.3 billion. They expected 168, so better than expected everywhere, essentially. She was not the best that showed up. They showed the people that showed up against her, and they were way better. Like, they show a video of some of the other people, and the other people were way better, you know. You know, there's a very famous, so apparently she's a breakdancing instructor in Australia, right? There's a very famous quote. Those that can't do, teach, you know. Coming from the top 3 greatest teacher of stocks in the world right now. those that can't do teach. And I think the Australian breakdancer is a great example of that. And somehow, you know, maybe she knew some people there and they got her in, and now she's a laughingstock. It's unfortunate. Yeah, terrible, Mike. She was so bad it made Australia look bad, you know. Right, to the real breakdancers, which I think breakdancing is, you know, a fading art form, dance-wise. You know, like this is I don't think there should even be a breakdancing category in the Olympics. I think there should be newer forms of dance that are sprouting up, because nobody really, like, I'm not saying you can't find people that breakdance. It's just not really, it's fading, and it's very self-evident, right? Like, nobody really is gonna, yeah. It was big in the 90s. You know, like late 80s, early 90s, but now it's fading, and that's very clear. So, anyways, back to stocks. Just wanted to touch on that very, very important topic. Again, the SPY and the Q are mostly flat today. Nvidia slightly red, still hasn't broken over 120s, but the SPY slightly green, the Q slightly green. Again, Nvidia slightly red. Apple. We're looking at Apple stock today. Apple is slightly green, but a lot of stuff's very break even. I think a lot of them are waiting for this report also. And then next week we got Jackson Hole Symposium, I think, right? Yes, Raven. Walmart doing really well is not a good sign for the economy. Yeah, but at a certain point, people are always looking for negative signs of the economy. I'll tell you this, inflation data was good enough I think we're going to get rate cuts next month. And so I think, like, that's what everybody should plan for, is potential rate cuts next month. Is that real fire? Oh, yeah, dude. Look, I just got a fire in my office right now. You know, look at this. Ah! You know? No, I'm sorry. A little bit of a dad joke there. Of course, it's a heater. It's a portable heater. It's a good look, though. It looks good. All right. We want higher. What does the market want? Do we want higher or lower retail sales data? I don't know. I don't know whether we want higher or lower data. I think it's a little bit mixed. I would say we want higher retail sales right now. And so I think the market wants higher retail sales data. But who knows, man? The market can always react in surprising ways with stuff like this, for sure. And so you just want to take it with a grain of salt. Understand, nobody knows how the market's going to react. I think we'll probably have a positive correlation with retail sales. If we have higher than expected retail sales, the market will go up, and vice versa. But you never know, especially with stuff like this. You should also watch jobless claims. Generally, there's going to be an inverse relationship with jobless claims. Lower jobless claims signals more economic growth. Manufacturing, you know, with like the Philly Fed Index and the New York Empire State Index, you know, strength in manufacturing can be good, and so, but it's not as easy of a correlation, I would say. Recession fears are still here, and so I think we're moving more back to a positive correlation of markets. In terms of economic data, I think a stronger economy is seen as a positive right now. A weaker economy is seen as a negative right now with recession fears. I do think that's true. But man, again, guys, like, one thing I can teach you guys here is balance. Balance is such a key role in everything, especially with like Fed decisions and policy, but also with like data, you know. I have gotten CPI exactly right way more times than is statistically likely, you know. And again, I've done it through balance. You know, I've done it through balance. Some people are just sitting around waiting to criticize, so they're going to be like, oh, this dude brags too much. Half of the time I'm sarcastic. But this is something I'm being honest about. Like, I'm not being sarcastic here. I've gotten CPI inflation data exactly right a lot of times, you know. And the way I do it, if anybody watches this stream for long periods of time, you know this, you know. I never even used to give out predictions. I started giving them out about 8 months ago, and I would say I've gotten at least a majority of them right, which is interesting, you know. But again, the only thing I'm using to gauge what it is balance, you know. So like an example of this is last time we came in much lower than expected, which is good, right? Lower inflation data. It's reasonable to assume with balance that it would be slightly higher or flat, right? And so that's my balance prediction. That's why I said yesterday I think we'll come in as expected at 0.2%. We showed up as expected at 0.2%. And I told you guys that an hour, you know, at 6:30 in the morning. And so using balance can be powerful. I don't know if you should go so far as to like bet trades around it. Around your predictions, but I think it can be useful, you know. Yeah, jobless claims today, unemployment filings today, a big report too. If we don't get a 50 basis point cut, the market makers will freak out and the market will tank. Human psychology, and so yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think that much relies on a 50 basis point cut. I think it mostly depends on I think it depends on how sustained the rate cuts are, you know. I'll brag on you, bro. You're good at what you do. Thanks so much. Yeah. The internet's a weird place. You get people watching. If you say anything positive about yourself, you know, some people are just like, just weird, you know. But it's all love here. I try to put out happiness and good things. What's up, Freddie? Bro, you said yesterday was 0.2, and it comes in at 0.2, and you claim to have called it on the dot. I did. Okay. How many more options are there? I don't know how much you really pay attention. And I think you're probably a troll. Like, I've been watching you, and, like, you say really weird stuff and don't really say anything, like, useful. And mostly, you're probably some other guy who created another username. But to the point is, there's a lot more options that it could come in as, Marcus. It could come in at noticeably lower than expected. It could come in noticeably higher than expected. I would say most of the time it does not show up as expected. It shows up at either under or over, right? And it could have showed up, like last time it was expected at 0.1 and it showed up at minus 0.2, I think, right? And so it showed up noticeably under what was expected, right? It can also show up way higher than expected, you know? So it's not like, yeah, again, it's all good. I'm not going to argue about it. It's all good. Right. No, I really do have haters creating fake accounts. Like, the only theory I have is they have to know me in real life. But it's got to be kind of like a sad reality if you're out here, like, just hoping to throw me off a little bit. Like, I kind of like the drama. The drama makes the stream interesting, you know? Like, it's always fun to go back and forth. And I think viewers can, as long as I don't stay on it too long. If I stay on it too long, then, you know, people might complain, but aside from that, it's probably good for the channel. It's not bragging if it's true, 100%. Yeah. It's the September rate cut confirmed based on what we got this month. I think it's too early to tell, Nato. But I do think it's pretty likely. You know. I think it's pretty likely. I think that Powell said in the last FOMC meeting that he would probably cut rates unless we saw inflation spike. Now, I think the one thing that we have to wait for, a couple things really. I think we have to wait for the Fed minutes report next week. We've got to wait for the Fed minutes report. We have to wait for Jackson Hole Symposium to see what Powell thinks. We have to wait for PCE data and unemployment data dropping again before the next FOMC. So before the next FOMC, we get another unemployment report, another payroll report, another Fed minutes report. We get another unemployment report. You know, we get much more jobless claims, and we get the big one, which is PCE inflation, right? So as long as those things come in or at or around expected numbers, I think we're still on path to cut rates next month, right? But again, we'll see. Yeah. So, do you have a? Yeah. Drop the whole blueprint. Put the countdown timer. Yeah, let me put it up. I forgot to put that up. Here's the timer. The problem with having 4 monitors is you got so many ways. Like I lose my mouse at least twice a day. Yeah, so we got an hour and 12 minutes roughly. I'll try to time it exactly right, but this is a little bit. See, now we're a little bit early. Yeah, so I'll try to time this one exactly right. Kind of gives Fed direction to cut rates or not, or from 25 to 50. Yeah, I think we're going to cut. The question is it 25 or 50? I hope it's 25, but who freaking knows, man? You don't ever know really for sure. All right, this is about as close as perfect I can get the timer here today, guys. About as close as perfect. Could y'all, here's a question. Could y'all still hear the music? Right, so my sound went out. I had to add it back. Can you hear the music right now as I'm speaking? Is a cut good thing for current state? In some ways, yes. Okay, there goes the audio. Hold on, let me try to fix it. There we go. Okay, yeah, the music's back now. Anyways. So a lot of people are asking, why do I hope it's 25 basis points? Because I don't want to spike inflation again, and I think a lot of people are unhappy, and they're oblivious to why they're unhappy, right? Like a lot of people, I'll say, hey guys, we shouldn't cut rates, and they'll say, but what about the economy, guys? What about the economy? And I'll say, okay, explain in areas in which the economy is at like heavy risk, and they're like, well, prices are so high, and it's like, yeah, well, what do you think cutting rates is going to do, right? Cutting rates is going to make prices higher, not lower. It's going to make problems worse in that way. And so, same logic here of cutting rates, right? Like, I want to cut rates. I'm okay with cutting rates. I just hope it's not like a massive cut. You know, here, I'm going to have to fix this again. There we go. All right, chat. So, and again, I'm okay if it's 50 even, to be honest, as long as it's not sustained. Like, if we sustain a freaking, like, multi-rate cut year, like, where we cut rates multiple meetings in a row by a lot, then it's just not worth it. Yeah. After checking up on Marquez on his chat history, he's just toxic. He's trying to criticize. And it's really interesting behavior. So you see it in like trolls, right? Well, they'll say something kind of like crappy to you. And then when you respond negatively, being like, hey, dude, like, you know, then they'll say, oh, relax, bro, calm down, dude. You know what I mean? So like they play both sides. Good day to you, sir. I'm reading the chat. The big one for him is he's trying to make me feel bad about working with my kids and like all this other stuff. It's just kind of toxic if you look back on it. He's saying I'm a 4 out of 10 trader, accuracy wise. Yeah, it's just not, you know. Good day to you, sir. What's up with Chipotle? Their CEO wasn't making the burritos. No, but it's a bad sign if your CEO leaves the company abruptly to join another company, more successful company. That's a bad sign, right? That's not a good sign for stability. It's gonna scare shareholders at least a little bit, you know. So like that's what this is. Like it's gonna scare shareholders at least a little bit. Ran out of guac, yeah, for sure. All right. I'm not a big Chipotle guy. I'm really not. Like, I'm not the guy that eats at Chipotle like that, you know. Although a lot of people say Chipotle can have cheap food, and I guess it does, but I agree. But people always want to take the easy way, not the right way. 100%, right? That's exactly what we see here. They want the easy way, not the hard way or the right way. The right way would be to not cut rates, keep high interest rates. It's gonna sting a little bit for the economy, but ultimately it's going to be the best move long term, right? The easy way is to cut rates now, pander to real estate, bring interest rates down, cause inflation spikes, but a lot of spending into the economy to make the economy look good, and ultimately that's kind of where they're heading, unfortunately. And I wish it wasn't like that. Again, I'm okay with keeping high interest rates for a longer period of time, but it just doesn't look like they're going to. CEO overpaid. Well, a lot of CEOs are, but the problem with CEOs, like again, the Blockbuster story that I tell this story pretty regularly, but the Blockbuster story is the most interesting story on the problem with CEOs, right? The problem with CEOs is that they're afraid to take risks, and understandably so to a certain extent. But like Blockbuster, a good example, right? So Blockbuster, they hired a CEO in the 90s and 2000s, right? I can't remember his name. It was like some type of Italian name. Look at the Q spike. Q spike it up a little bit. Let's see if it continues. His name was John Antioco, right? And the problem with it is that they're afraid to take risks. So when DVDs came out, it was pretty obvious early on that DVDs were going to be the next big technology. And I think if you're running a technology/video company like Blockbuster, you have to be on the forefront of technology evolution, right? Like you got to be on the forefront of it. You got to be ready for new technologies, especially in movies and VHS, and where TV technology is one of the fastest growing, especially at the time, right? Where you have all these new products and things, and you have to adapt to those things quickly, right? But you put a CEO in, John Antioco, and they're afraid to take risks because they are afraid to get fired, basically, right? And so instead they do the most stable thing, which is not to do anything a lot of the time. And in business, if you don't evolve, you fail, so like John Antioco, when DVDs came out, it was very clear they were going to be the future, even though not everybody had one, and that prices would continue to go down. And a lot of people predicted this early on. But instead of buying up DVDs and embracing that technology, he instead just kept all VHS tapes, refused to buy DVDs for a long time. Eventually he pivoted and they bought a bunch of DVDs, but at that point it was kind of too late, and once streaming came out, he should have immediately done the same thing with streaming and said, hey, streaming's going to be big, internet's better, streaming's going to be big. Instead of adapting and evolving, he waited. He again took the most stable thing, which was to do nothing. And over time, that caused the downfall of Blockbuster. So CEOs are important, but a lot of the time they're so afraid to lose their jobs that they're afraid to take risks. And I think in businesses, you have to evolve and take risks. Walmart's already out with their earnings. They already dropped. All right, so here's Walmart's numbers. We'll put those on screen. Tell me the difference between stupid and illegal and how I have my wife's brother arrested. Yeah. A Big Short quote. Love it. There's Walmart. What is your guess about today's report? I don't know. I think today's report we're gonna have a positive correlation with the economy or with economic data in the market is what I think, but I might be wrong. No idea. Redbox, yeah. I mean, Redbox, they evolved too late also, but they didn't make as much money as Blockbuster, so it was harder for them to embrace streaming. Netflix ultimately is the smartest one. They didn't make a ton of money, but they used their money on the right things, and they ended up building streaming as we know it today. And here we are, one of the largest companies in the world now. If Buffett and hope gold goes up. Where is gold throughout all this stuff? Gold. Watched it before work. Yeah, good movie. It's the movie that got me involved in the stock market, right? Like I started trading stocks, and I created this YouTube channel because of the Big Short movie. 100% because of it. Again, I've told the story 1,000 times. So get ready. I'm gonna repeat myself, guys. But I went and saw the movie in theaters. Had no idea what I knew what stocks were, but I had no idea really what like day trading was, or like in like swing trading or anything like that, or what a short even was, to be honest. When I went and saw that movie, I saw it in theaters with my wife Carol, and came out of that movie in love with stocks. Right, like I was always poker, checkers, chess, strategy games, like that. Those were kind of my thing. I like using my brain to make money, and I should have gravitated towards stocks earlier than that, but I didn't. And so once I saw that movie, I was like, all right, like this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna learn this stuff. Became absolutely obsessed. ADHD brains like me, we get hyper focused. So like I saw that movie, got hyper focused on stocks, and had some highs and lows, but yeah. Maybe Sean, I don't know, brother. Gold or resistance? Is the data releasing today significant for the market? Yes. I mean, we don't know how much it's going to move the markets, but it's an important day. Today the volume of reports is large, right? None of them are as big as CPI or even PPI, but the volume of reports today are massive. Like we have so many reports dropping at 8:30 today, and between 8:30 and 9:30 today, that it's just a big day for reports. It's going to move markets probably. CPI barely moved the market. Yeah, I mean, it was as expected. It was neutral, so, we did go up from it, though, and the market did trend upward, right? Not really, I guess. So we were kind of flat. We dumped a lot at the opening bell yesterday, and then we came right back up. So, see how it goes. All right, sorry. All right, guys. So, oh, it is Christmas music. I can turn it off if you guys want. I mean, it's not bad. I wouldn't call it good either. Whenever I went to Roaring Kitty's still out there. I mean, if you're Roaring Kitty, it's kind of like the Conor McGregor effect, is like the way I'll describe it, right? Like, Roaring Kitty has made so much money. He has over $100 million, right? At least he's got over $50 million. I think it's very hard to get him to come back and, like, again, if you've got $50+ million, are you going to subject yourself to the internet every day? Like, streaming? Probably not, right? Anyways, look at the Q spike up a little bit. Walmart's still trending down here. We're still watching Nvidia. Nvidia slightly red on the day. Yeah, 300 mil. Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was more than that, but I didn't want to be wrong, so I just kind of pivoted back to over 50 million. But yeah. Nasdaq has a little 50-minute down trend. Yeah. And I think a lot of times, like, look, GameStop's great, but, like, I think people have to recognize the truth about GameStop as a company. And the truth is very obvious. This is not even, like, this shouldn't be controversial, which is that if GameStop doesn't pivot their business model, they're going to fail, you know? Like, where's the pivot? They need a pivot. AMC selling popcorn, Uber Eats. MySpace CEO sold MySpace for 300 million. I think it was more than that, right? And MySpace sold for 580 million. So yeah, almost 600 million. So they sold it in 2005. By 2006, it generated, or by 2008, it generated 800 million in revenue during the 2008 year. But I get it though, right? Like, I can't say, like, if I ever had somebody come to me and say I blew beginner trading up to a massive point to where it was a software company and all this other stuff, right? Which maybe we'll do one day, I don't know. But say I did that and somebody approached me, and even though I was making like 5 million a year, they said, yo, we'll pay you 100 million right now. Sell your company. Like $100 million, if you invested in the right spot, you and your kids and your kids' kids are going to be very, very wealthy, you know. Even if you can make more, like, it's a risk-reward game, I think. But, yeah, it's a risk-reward game. Costco. Does anyone think that a raise in interest rates could cause further unwinding of the carry trade? Yeah, I mean, it could. 2 million right now? Nah, I'm good, bro. What are your predictions on the Walmart earnings? Walmart's are out already. Walmart earnings dropped. They're up a lot from it, right? Yeah, Walmart up to 73s. Big gap up. Honestly, my signal indicator, somebody's asking me about my indicator here. Check this out. Still building it, but we did some updates to it. Check it out. Look at that. Like, really good gauge of momentum. Look at that. And so this is a signal I built. Signal here, nice little follow through. So it's 2 for 2 there. I have to keep going back and look at this one. Maybe you could say didn't work, but it's close, I would say. But yeah, you could probably say that one didn't work. This one definitely worked. Look at that. Boom. So I've only seen one that didn't work out of the last like 4 or 5. I'll have to keep going back here and testing it. Yeah, look at that. Literally called the top. It does really good at predicting tops, to be honest. Look at that. Beautiful dip. Keep scrolling back here. I don't think it repaints either. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it calculates it. Yeah, look at that. Green. Boom. So again, here's the second losing one. But it's 2 out of like 8 didn't work here. That one worked. Look at that one worked too. So beautiful reactions here. So yeah, honestly, look at this. Ooh, look at this. Yeah, so look how powerful this thing is, man. Like, look, green, boom. Red, boom. Green, boom. Red, boom. Green, boom. So this is at like 15. This one only didn't work 2 out of like 15. So that's 13 out of 15. Pretty high accuracy. We'll see if it continues. But yeah, Walmart's up a lot. No, you're not going to get the script. Sorry, brother. 3 mil to sell your channel and never stream again. No. It's just not worth it, Foo. Like, I might sell it for 3, but one of the clauses would be, like, I could do like a 6-month no compete or something like that. But to never stream again, it wouldn't be worth it. I like streaming too much, you know. Walmart earnings are already out. P. Penny stocks ripping. Yeah. All right, guys. There we go. You guys ready? We got almost 600 people here already. We still got almost an hour before this report. Look at the SPY move. It's at 545.50. So we did bounce right at that 200 EMA. Walmart earnings were better than expected on EPS and revenue lost. So it was better than expected. Does Nike look strong? Yes. Again, my Nike dip buy worked too. Remember, I bought Nike at like 74, 75. It's back up to 80s today. Looks great. So he will sell the script for $3 million. Nah, not that much. Top 3 indicators in the world right now. Yeah. Some quick technicals on NVIDIA. All right, NVIDIA at 120s. I think we're downtrending in NVIDIA, but I think we kind of just broke that little trend. I don't know for sure, though. Nobody knows. But I think we've been downtrending for a minute now, like this. You know. And I think we're finally kind of broken out of that trend over the last few days. I don't know where we're heading. Nobody knows. Like, I really don't know what's going to happen here with NVIDIA. I think a lot of things could happen, and they really depend on earnings that drop. NVIDIA earnings are going to overpower any technicals aside from extension on the 28th at the end of this month in a couple weeks, right? NVIDIA earnings are massive, massive. Like, these are huge, huge earnings. So, yeah, this is something that you definitely want to pay attention to. Not saying Fibonacci's are the end all be all, but if you run a Fibonacci on the SPY for all-time highs to the recent lows, we are at 6180 on the SPY. Yeah, for sure. I like fibs. I use them sometimes with my development of stuff, you know. All right, we're over 6. Can you review Costco? I like Costco as a company, bro. I make a joke about my wife. Like, one time a long time ago, my wife brought me to a Costco on a Sunday, and I freaking hated it. I hate the grocery store. The grocery store is like my enemy, you know. Like, my dad was very frugal growing up, you know. So, like, I would go to the grocery store. I wouldn't be able to buy, like, you know, he was smart, right? He was smart, very frugal. Sometimes he went overboard. But he used to buy me Walmart shoes. I would only get shoes that were on sale. It was just different, you know. Very frugal. Again, it's probably a smart move, but in hindsight, as a kid, I hated it. And maybe that started my dislike for grocery stores. I freaking hate the grocery store. I hate going to the grocery store. Carol was raised way differently in that regard, where Carol will just, you know, she will fill the cart up to the max, you know. I don't know. I just hate the grocery store, you know, genuinely hate the grocery store. I hate going. It's boring. I don't like it. But Carol will drag me to the store. One time she dragged me to Costco on a Sunday, and that place is chaos on a Sunday. I hate it. Like, you can't even. It's like driving, but more stressful. You know, you gotta basically, like, there's so many people there on a Sunday. I'll never go again on a Sunday. Walmart's out there gapping up from their earnings. Again, you gotta watch NVIDIA. But regarding that, though, Costco, obviously a very healthy company, right? They make a lot of money. A lot of people are using them. I think they're growing in that regard as well, in terms of, like, how many people use them, how many people shop there, how many memberships people have. I think that number is probably growing, and their stock price has gone up, like, a lot. Their stock price has gone up like 80-90% this year alone. They were at $500 a share this year, 52 weeks ago, that is, at the same period last year. They're now up to almost 900. They're up to like 860s, 870s. So, very strong company. I like them, but I think they're a little extended short term for me. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. My wife, like, loves shopping. So she loves to go to the grocery store and buy all this cool stuff, and she likes taking care of us as a family. You know, so it's well-natured. It's good-natured, but I freaking hate the grocery store. Like, anytime I go, I'm basically dragged there. I don't want to go. Walmart earnings are out already, guys. Walmart earnings are out. They've been out. They've been out for like an hour. Walmart's gapping up a huge amount. And so earnings are already out, guys. They're already out. They dropped like an hour ago. They've been out already. They had positive, better than expected EPS and revenue, and Walmart is gapping up because of it. Here's Walmart on the left. They're at 73s right now, guys. 73s. Yeah. Yeah, I like Costco if it's nobody's there. You know, like, I like Costco if nobody's there. Hmm. All right, Tesla actually spiking up. It's over 202s. Walmart's got a little flag pattern there, but it's at $73 a share. Scam. Get banned. Yeah. Get banned. Scammers, man. They never stop. You can return a used Christmas tree at Costco. Yeah, it's kind of like Walmart, right? Walmart don't take anything back. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's greedy in their own way, though. I think people getting really mad at other people for greed. It's like, dude, look, okay, everybody's greedy. You know, one thing the Lord of the Rings got exactly right is that men crave power. You know, this is normal. You know, they crave influence and power. You can say, oh, I don't want any influence. I don't want any power. I promise you deep down inside, you probably do. You know, and it's important to recognize that about us as people, like about humans in general. And protect ourselves from ourselves in that way, you know. But I don't think we should really also be super critical on other people for valuing money, you know. Why did the market crash yesterday if the data was good? I mean, I think the obvious response to you, Draco, is when did the market crash, bro? Where's the crash, sir? Like, we're actually green from relative to the data. Like, here's yesterday and today. We're actually up from that. So here's where the CPI came out yesterday. This is where we hit highs. This is where we are now. So we're actually green from it. We're definitely not crashing down. The market certainly didn't crash, I guess. All right, guys, 40 minutes. We got almost 700 live viewers. Thanks so much. Hey, thanks, Lost. I think I would know if a crash happened. His calls crashed. His puts might have crashed. Yeah, we got a lot of crash predictors, but that's a little bit too sensitive. Too many people with opinions that don't know what they're talking about and don't care to learn. Maybe I think they care to learn. I think that's why they're here. As long as the biggest way you can learn, guys. Like, you might hear me, you might think I'm too braggy. Half the time it's sarcasm. I mean, when you look this good, you're gonna brag, you know. If you know, you know. But half the time it's sarcasm. The other 50% of the time, you know, I'm just being honest about how great I am and smart and, you know, talented. Anyways, back to the point. The best thing you can do in the market is not try to act like an expert. You know, the Dunning-Kruger effect is absolutely true in stocks. Absolutely true. Everybody wants to be an expert. Everybody that's new in stocks thinks they're an expert because they know so little that they think they're great. They have a couple green trades, and they think they're just the next Warren Buffett, you know. The reality is they know very, very little about everything in the economy and markets and the correlations and all that stuff. But, you know, some of them get really toxic, and while they're still pretty new, they argue with people with like a decade of experience or more about it and just end up getting really weird. And so the best advice is just sit down and listen, you know, not get too forceful. Be able to say, hey, I was wrong, or hey, maybe I'm wrong, or hey, is this correct? If somebody corrects you, accept the correction and be okay with it. Like, I think that's an important thing. And if you want to learn, that's the first thing you should be doing, is just kind of humble yourself, listen, and try to pick up everything that we're talking about if you can. You know, I'm definitely wrong a lot too, so I'm not even claiming to always be right. Top 3 most right people ever, but you know. Anyways, SPY is pulling back a little bit. We're still over the 200 EMA though. Walmart's up there. It gapped up some. Here's the SPY. Everything's still slightly green, but we're also choppy. I think this is a big day for reports also though. Nvidia choppy, Q choppy, SPY choppy. I think the market's waiting on this. Silver's up 3.5% today. Draco says my portfolio is more than you and your grandma.
All right, guys, we are here.
I mean, my grandma. Whew, man, that hurts. I know you're not talking to me, but it's all right. I'm just kind of messing with you. What I will say is that I don't know if there's a positive correlation around people who respond with my account's bigger than your account, you know, in terms of how successful they are as investors. You know, it's kind of like the brightest person in the room is sometimes the weakest. Why? Because people don't have to wear bright colors to get noticed. The true ones that are, you know, there. I don't know. And I think sometimes, like, you see people wear shirts that have money on them, or like all these flashy things and like diamonds and all that stuff. But I think if you meet anybody that's truly wealthy, right, that's genuinely rich, genuinely wealthy, right? There's a very famous quote: "Riches yell, wealth whispers." You know. And so if you meet somebody that really has money, usually, in my opinion, they're in t-shirts, shorts, flip-flops, right? They don't want to be a target. Like, they don't want you to know they have money, right? And so, yeah. I think you learn that as you get older, though. I think when I was young, I thought that flashiness was the right move. And, you know, as you get older, you realize that people with real money are quiet, you know, about it. Yeah, no, it's all good, Draco. I'm just messing with you about me. My grandma was one of the top. She's rest in peace, but she was one of the top 3 grandmas ever in the world. Right now, definitely top 3. You know, Carol's one of my top 3 best wives ever. You know, Tesla at 202s. We got almost 40 minutes left. Somebody talking bad about my tank top. I sleep in a tank top sometimes. Like, it's cold in the morning. And so I'm trying to find a tank top. Like, I try to get comfortable, and these are the most comfortable for me, you know. Yeah. This is an Astros, like, tank top anyway. I'm not one of those guys that are going to throw on a suit to work in my computer office, you know. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why? I would trust somebody less if they wore a suit to their office, you know, to their home office. Doesn't make sense to, you know. Top 3 tank tops ever. Anyways. Can we get some flash correction action? I don't know, man. I think today we got 3 major reports, which are retail sales, jobless claims, and the Philly Fed Index are the top 3. The other Empire State Index, which is both, like, the Philly Fed and Empire State are both manufacturing results. We also have the import-export price index. Later on in the morning, we got capacity utilization and business inventories. So there's a lot of stuff dropping today. The volume of data dropping is the most important thing, like we've said. And unemployment filings are something that you really want to pay attention to. Retail sales are big also, though. So retail sales, unemployment filings through jobless claims are the 2 big ones that you want to watch, because those are just the more important reports. Yeah, I mean, look, the whole riches, yeah, wealth whispers thing is true. But I think on YouTube it's different, right? On YouTube you got to be flashy. On social media and online, it pays to be flashy, right? So that's a completely different thing. You got to be seen online, you know. So it depends on the context, but yeah. All right, guys. So again, things are pretty choppy right now. We can see this in the SPY. SPY is slightly green, but we've gone up, down, up, down, up, down today. Choppy. Here's the Q, same thing, down, up, down, up, down, up. Rectangular range. If we put a 5-minute chart up, you can see it. And then Nvidia is very choppy as well. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So, you know, mostly chop today. Again, we did have Walmart earnings drop earlier. If we put up Walmart right here, Walmart's gapping up on better than expected EPS and revenue. For Walmart, let me see if they had any other good metrics here. Let me see. So yeah, better consumer spending habits. They also guided at 243. I'm trying to see what they expected. So I think they had good guidance. So earnings fall, but revenue rises and guidance was raised. So here's the end result. So yeah, 2025 guidance was good for Walmart. Yeah, all good, Draco. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks, man. Does anyone have any recommendations as far as reading? I mean, I'm reading what? Trading stuff? Trading in the Zone. You can meet like millionaire traders. You can read like Jack Schwager's Market Wizards. You can read. There's a couple good trading books. I wouldn't learn technicals through book form though. Book form is kind of obsolete in that way. I would look at videos or other stuff. You're not going to learn like the technical nuance of markets easily through a book. Some people might, and that's preference and subjective, but I would go towards video or other forms of learning over books, specifically regarding technicals. You can learn like psychology through books, and again, Trading in the Zone. Mark Douglas, rest in peace. Great book for that type of stuff, but. Yeah, Stock Operator book from almost a century ago. Still surprisingly relevant though. Big Circus, appreciate it. The button click isn't clicking. What button? I saw a new orange Lambo on the highway the other day. Grandma was driving it. Honestly, that's surprisingly common. You know, like I see some here where I live where I'm like, ooh, look at that McLaren. I'm like, ooh, you know. And it's usually like some 80-year-old man out there living his life. I can't even judge, you know. But I also kind of feel a little bit bad every time I do it. I see it because I want to live like that when I'm young, you know. Where's the Q at? The Q is at 464.20s right now. 464.20s. All right, guys. Tesla's still over 200s, and it's been consolidating around 202 to 200s. A little bit underneath it for some points. How do you feel about Solana? I mean, Solana's interesting. Lost some steam over the last few years, I think, but it's still one of the more powerful cryptos. You know, is it as big as ETH or Bitcoin specifically? No, but it's still pretty good. You know. Yeah, Render's good. Render's got a lot of big backers too. RNDR. I'm not telling you to buy anything, not an investment professional, not liable if you lose. Have no idea what's going to happen here. Always make your own assessment, trade responsibly, understand CFTC 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance has limitations, all that good stuff, chat. Remember. But, so yeah, Solana's down 27% this year versus last year. The prices ranged from 17s to 200 plus during that period. It's faced bullish, bearish driven DeFi, and overall market sentiment has fluctuated it. Did they really rebrand? So it's not RNDR? I thought RNDR was the symbol. Yeah, it looks like they did. I'm looking at it right now. They did rebrand. RENDER, render. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I think that's a bad move. I think they just, you know, I don't think it. I think this is insignificant, but you know, render is up on the year. You know, render started the year off at $1.50s, is at 460s, 470s. So, yeah. Yeah, so we're sitting tight here, guys. Any predictions for these reports? Do you think we're going to have bullish or bearish action? Have I done a poll yet? I don't think I have here today. My bad, guys. Well, today's economic data calls bullish or bearish market action. Vote on the poll. Let me know how you feel. Again, I'm also going to throw this in sub-only mode, so if you haven't already subscribed, chat, we do this live every single day right here. So subscribe, hit the notification bell. Still growing our brand and growing our channel. Got 800 people here already. Still almost 30 minutes left too. We're bullish today. Unemployment is at an all-time high. I think the market's like that. Unemployment's not at an all-time high, bro. Do you know what the all-time high of unemployment is? It's bad. No offense, brother, but that's a ridiculous statement, dude. Isn't the unemployment all-time high like 15% or higher than that? Yeah, the all-time high of unemployment is 25% in 1933. You know, 4.3% is nowhere near the all-time high, sir. I get it, it's an election year, and so politicians are trying to make you think it's the worst it could ever be. But, like, calling it an all-time high is crazy. Yeah, the all-time high of unemployment is 24.9% in 1933, after the Great Depression. Look, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with anybody, but, like, don't be gullible, guys, right? Like, you shouldn't like to be manipulated by either side, you know? So, like, I get it. It's an election year. People are like, it's the worst it's ever been, you know? And because they want you to vote for the other side. Right? Like, this is very consistent with election years. You shouldn't like to be manipulated. Don't be. You know? I'm not saying I like or dislike either side. You know? All I'm saying is unemployment's not at an all-time high. They're going to try to make you think it's the worst it's ever been because it's an election year. The other side's going to try to make you think it's the greatest it's ever been ever. You know? Neither of those things are true. take it all with a grain of salt. It's an election year. Understand why they're trying to drag you and pull you. You know, be smart. Anyways, SPY and Q flat. Gold all-time highs. Gold could break all-time highs. Gold right now, again, is at $2,500. Just ramped up here. I'm going to put gold up. Look at gold running this morning here. If you put up like a 20-day chart, gold is still pretty green. It broke lifetime highs back on the 2nd of August a couple weeks ago. It's still up to $2,500 plus dollars. Can y'all hear the music still right now? Can y'all hear it, or do I have to reshare? Yes, 100%, John. I agree things are more expensive now. But again, like, okay, let me try to do this the easiest way I can. I try to do this every day, right? So, like, these are the two polarizations of the economy. It's kind of like a barbell. All right, on one side, you have recession fears. Okay, one side you have recessions, depressions, like all that stuff. Okay, on the other side, you have inflation. Okay, right? So inflation versus recessions. Okay, what's good for one of these things is bad for the other. And so what's good for recession fears is usually going to cause inflation to get worse, right? And that includes like money printing, quantitative easing, low rate environments, right? Those things are good for recession fears. They make a recession less likely. But the consequence is inflation, you know? So like right now, it's fine to critique the inflation that we've experienced, right? That's perfectly reasonable because inflation is a ridiculous thing right now. It's super high. It's gone up a lot the last 5 years, right? But that is a completely different environment towards this, you know? So an inflation fearing market usually is a market that wants the economy to be weaker. You know, and we saw that for the last 3 years in which the Fed does quantitative tightening. They reduce their balance sheet. They let their bond holdings run off. They take liquidity away from those markets and force banks to keep interest rates high. That's a restrictive, hawkish monetary policy. You know, that is good for inflation fears, right? That pushes down inflation. The other side of that is a Fed that's going to stimulate the economy. You know, but again, what's good for one is bad for the other, and vice versa. And so, you know, a lot of people are arguing like we're here in a recession, but when you hear their argument is like, oh, inflation is super high and prices have spiked, you know, and so it's kind of like, I don't think the economic data looked good for payrolls and unemployment, but we're certainly not in a recession. GDP is at, 2.8% last time? So it's not negative at all. And recessions are 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. And again, I say this, and people always bring up years ago when we did have 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. And again, maybe you can call that a mini recession. I don't know. We're certainly not in that now. I'm talking about right now. And so I think, again, with the Fed hell-bent on cutting rates in September, you want to pay attention to inflation, because the reason they wouldn't cut rates is because of inflation. If inflation spikes up a lot, like a lot, they might consider not cutting rates, you know. And I'm worried about rate cuts because it's going to make inflation worse. It's going to cause much bigger problems in terms of inflation. And so I hope all of that makes sense, right? Like that's the thing people have to understand. I see it so much where people argue, oh, we're in some massive recession. And I'm like, oh, well, why do you think that? And they say, oh, well, inflation has gone up so much. It's like, okay, but that's the opposite, you know? And so I'm not saying we're not heading towards a recession. We're not going to a recession. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It depends on what happens with unemployment, to be honest, and a lot of other things. But right now, we're definitely not in one, you know? And I get it. And you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to understand it's an election year. Politicians are going to try to pull you in all these different directions, you know, and it doesn't mean it's true. You got to take everything, regardless of the side, with a grain of salt and understand that's how it goes. Hey, John, I believe. Yeah, again, I'm not, like I said, remember, guys, what I said was like every time I say this, people say, hey, they changed the definition. We had one. And again, that might be true. We might have had a little mini recession then, right? Right now, what's GDP at, guys? Anybody know? It's definitely not negative. And so maybe we had one back then. I'm not here to argue against that. What I'm talking about is what the current market situation is right now. And unemployment's still under 5. Payrolls are still over 200K. Inflation is the risk right now. But I think I'm okay with cutting small rates or bringing rates down a little bit. I just don't want it to continue. Right, 100%. That's exactly right. Fear drives attention. Attention makes money. 100%. That's exactly what it is. Same people that are telling you the market's going to crash every other week, even though they've obviously been wrong. But, like, they're doing it to get views. They're doing it to get clicks. It's better driver for views. Yeah, no, I'm not saying things aren't bad. When I say we have problems, I'm not even saying things are good, So yeah, I'm not even saying things are great right now. All I'm saying is that we're not in a technical recession, and I think that's very clear. But I think, again, it's an election year. Like, recession sounds bad, and so people are bringing it up because they want the other side to look bad, and the easiest way to make the other side look bad is to say that's what we're currently in, but we're not, And again, I don't like either side. I just like all of them. I'm not against you, I say this every day because it's important. You got to be really objective during election years because you're going to get pulled in a lot of different ways. And you got to be resilient. As resilient as you can be. I think it's human nature. Yeah, unemployment certainly spiked without question. When you can look at the SOM indicator as well, and we might be heading towards a recession. What I'm saying is right now we're not in one, right? And I think objectively, like, it's frustrating because it goes like this. People will say, people were arguing using the technical definition of a recession for years ago when they quote unquote changed the definition, right? But when I bring up today, hey, we're not in the technical definition of a recession right now, then they argue against that. And so it's like, well, now you want to go by now you don't want to go by the technical definition. Now you want to go by all these other things. And again, inflation sucks right now. I'm a hawkish person economics wise. Like, people are very, I think this is very obvious. I want the Fed to keep high interest rates personally. I don't think it's good to lower rates. I think rates have been low for 2 decades now. Real estate market's ridiculously high. And I think the only way you're going to slow it down is not by cutting rates, but by keeping a high interest rate, restrictive monetary policy. And I think that's very obvious. But, it's an election year as well. And the other side pressures to stimulate the economy because a thriving economy looks better, right? So there's a lot of nuance of what goes on during election years. And it is what it is, Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Yeah, I mean, we could say the numbers are real, but again, in that regard, like, I think it's really easy to get out of wrong predictions by saying that. I think confirmation bias wants people to believe what they want to happen, and if you have a lot of political bias, that's kind of where a lot of this is driven from, is political bias, right? I think that maybe the numbers could be influenced, but I also don't think that we should always assume that just because, like, a lot of people want us to be in one because it's an election year and that looks the worst, right? And so I think the only thing we can really go by is the numbers. And I also think nobody cries manipulation more than somebody that's wrong about a prediction. GameStop, AMC, so... So if unemployment numbers report high, the market will go down, right? Not necessarily. Unemployment filings. And so this is how many people are filing for unemployment week to week is what jobless claims are. Again, it's expected at 235. So this is how many people are filing for unemployment week to week. We can have unpredictability in these numbers, so just because we have lower claims, which means less people filing for unemployment, which is good. I think generally speaking, the market wants lower jobless claims numbers. That means less people filing for unemployment, more economic strength, more people working. It can mean worse inflation problems, but I think that's kind of in the backseat right now versus unemployment numbers specifically. So I think this is retail sales data is another kind of one like that. I think we want higher retail sales data. Lower retail sales data is better in regards to inflation. But again, I think that's in the backseat right now. Inflation numbers were pretty good the last few days. And so I think the market is going to want economic strength to show that inflation is under control, but also the economy is in a good spot. We also have the Philly Fed index, so we can kind of try to predict what the market will do in terms of manufacturing data. So again, manufacturing numbers also drop at 8:30. The Philly Fed index is expected at 7.9. Last time it showed at 13.9, so a little bit less strength in manufacturing, but still positive here. The Empire State Survey is expected at -6, so a little bit more positive than last time for manufacturing as well. Last time it was -6.6. So retail sales expected at 0.3%. Last time they were flat at 0%. Again, jobless claims expected at 235. Last time they were at 233. So even if we come in as expected, claims are going up a little bit relative to last week. And so, yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, we got about 1,200 people here. Tried fund, yeah. I think people kind of parrot things they hear on the news. And I think, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, but that has more to do with inflation. Inflation's a problem. And again, in that regard, I want us to keep a high restrictive monetary policy. I really do. Like, I want the interest rates to stay high because that's the only way we're going to combat inflation long term outside of going into a deep recession or depression. Inflation will go down a lot of the time if we go into a deep recession or depression, but it's not good, Outside of that, like, the only other way we're going to keep inflation low is by restriction. And I think, it's going to sting a little bit, but it's what's necessary. It's definitely easier to cut rates, stimulate the economy to look good, but again, the consequence is going to be inflation. All right, guys. Yeah, we got 9 minutes left, chat. 9 minutes. Are you guys subscribing here, guys? Listen, I'm not going to pressure you, but I'll hate you forever. If you don't subscribe, do it now. Just joking, kind of. Dude, AI is dumb sometimes. Yeah, so the SPY up to 545s. Yeah, because again, like for me, it's like you hear people complain about struggling and prices being high and all this stuff, right? Well, when I'm like, yeah, I agree, we should have a restrictive monetary policy. They somehow argue for rate cuts. Meanwhile, like talking about how unhappy people are because of high prices, so like it seems, it's a tough spot, and I think right now the economy has experienced a lot of difficult things over the past 5 years. The pandemic was tough. They had to step in and save us from a recession, but it's an interesting conversation. I think it's good for people to hear it. I think it helps people understand economics as well and different like viewpoints. It doesn't necessarily mean any of us are wrong. It's just differing viewpoints, and a lot of it is opinion on what the market and economy needs. Kind of like if you want to run a business, what's good for running a business or bad. Same thing with the U.S. economy. But what's up, guys? All right, we got 6 minutes here. 6 minutes. We got 1,400 live viewers already, guys. 1,400 live viewers. We almost got 145,000 subscribers here. So do it now, chat. Do it now if you haven't already. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. All right, thank you, Matthew. Retail sales data, huge report, guys. Big report. You guys ready? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We got the timer counting down right here on the left side of me. All right. Yeah, so I was getting triangle choked in jiu-jitsu yesterday, right? So I was getting triangle choked, and it freaked me out, man. So I was in a triangle. We were playing like a drilling game where we were playing from guard, and one person was on the top, and the person on the bottom had to sweep or submit, and the person on the top had to pass guard, right? So a little drilling game in jiu-jitsu, and one of these big, strong dudes that I roll with, really good guy, really, really good. He got me in a triangle choke, and like I was trying to sit back, which is kind of the defense of it, but everybody in the room heard this big like pop. I thought my jaw was like messed up. So he immediately lets me out. I started to see like it worked out for the best. I started to see little dots. So I was probably close to going out realistically. But my jaw popped, And so I'm like, "Oh no." And so I immediately like check it and like see if it hurts. My jaw didn't hurt at all. Still doesn't hurt today. So I don't know what happened there, but it was weird. But yeah. Gold looks like a chat. Get y'all's mind out the gutter, man. Is Robin Hood up? All right, guys, we got 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Robin Hood up to 1919s. Yeah, I still don't know what happened, to be honest. Like even the coach was like, "Hey, I heard that from over here." Right, for sure. Next time I'm just going to tap early, Yeah, like next time I'm just going to tap fast and early. All right, so we're going to get ready here. We got 3 minutes. Yeah, it could have been a chiropractor. Yeah. All right, guys. SPY at 545s. Again, gold all the way up to 2500s. No, my jaw feels fine. I know I should have tapped early. Listen, anybody that trains knows that, like, sometimes you just let it go too long. It's all good. It wasn't really a fully locked in triangle, so like it's kind of nuanced. But here we're gonna cover the data in a couple minutes. We got 2.5 minutes left until this data report. Remember, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're ready. Again, we got 2 minutes. Robinhood did just break highs, which is interesting enough. I'm kind of skeptical in investing long term in Robinhood. Didn't Kathy Wood just buy a bunch of shares? Sub 55K Bitcoin? I don't know, man. We'll see. Where's Disney at? Yeah. All right, guys. A minute and a half left. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm definitely stubborn with my taps. I told people that yesterday. I was stubborn. Higher belts usually tap more often, believe it or not, because they're more humble. I'm stubborn, spazzy, white belt, you know, so like. White belts are going to do white belt things, you know. Robinhood going over 2020 or over 22. I don't know. Gold up to 2500s. We're watching gold. Here we go. Here's the report. We got 1 minute left. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like Robinhood, man. I think there's risks in it. I think I think they're strong, and I think a lot of people use them, but it's... Anyways, we're going to get ready here, chat. I'm going to get ready. We got a whole gang of reports coming out. We got like 2,000 people watching here, which is pretty big for jobless claims numbers. But here we go. We got retail sales data, jobless claims data. Less than a minute, 40 seconds left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. We got import-export data, Philly Fed Index data, retail sales data. A whole gang of reports coming out, chat. So just be ready. Empire State Manufacturing Index is dropping. Here we go, guys. 20 seconds. This timer is actually pretty on point regarding... regarding being accurate. I'm probably going to pause it a little bit early. All right, guys, here we go. Big report. Here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's the report. New York Empire State came in higher than expected. Jobless claims showed up lower than expected. Retail sales showed up higher than expected almost everywhere for core retail sales. With retail sales showed up at 1% versus 0.4%. Great data. This is great data. This is less jobless claims, so less people filing for unemployment. Much stronger retail sales, a stronger economy is what we're seeing here. This is great data. SPY up, Q up, NASDAQ bouncing up. Gold hasn't really reacted. Now, this is an hourly chart. Let me put a 1 minute chart up. So gold is actually negatively reacting to this because this shows less risks in the economy. Again, retail sales strong, jobless claims low. Philly Fed Index came in worse than expected at -7%. New York Empire State Index came in at higher than expected at 4.7. Again, all of these things signal better economic data than expected, except for maybe the manufacturing ones. But again, better retail sales, 0.4% expected. We showed up at 1%. Jobless claims showed up at 227K versus 236 expected, so lower unemployment filings than expected, which is great. Yeah, import-export data showed up as well here. Let's see. Yeah, import-export data showed a little bit. Where is it? Import-export data showed. Usually there's like an index if I could find it. A little bit greater imports than expected, so that's good. Overall, pretty good report, right? This is a pretty good report. SPY up, Q up, NASDAQ up, a stronger economy. I mean, this signals less of a need to cut rates, see? But, you know, it's nuanced. Again, retail sales at 1% versus 0.3% expected. This is a really good number here. Retail sales showing strength in the economy. Jobless claims showed up at 227, which is good. You know, lower than last time and lower than expected, so that's good. We'll put this up. So yeah, so far, pretty good strength in the economy from this data here. And again, this is optimistic because inflation data also was better than expected. You know, so we had better than expected inflation data. So yeah, overall, pretty good. Yeah, this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the Fed's gonna do. Again, hit the subscribe button. We cover this live every single weekday morning right here on YouTube. And if you haven't already, check out TopStep. TopStep is a funded account program in futures. They give you a demo. They test your skill with a demo account. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you don't pass the test, you only lose what you paid for it. This one's $40, or it might be $49 if you use my link and coupon code $49. So it's pretty cheap. Great way to learn how to day trade. And if you fail, it's not the end of the world. If you want to check out Top Step, you can see their links here. And I'll pull this up. You can check them out. They've paid out over $40 million since 2020. $40 million in payouts since 2020. Been around for 12 plus years. You can see it's only $49 a month. They give you you got to make $3,000 in profit without losing $2,000 first. 5 contracts max, which is plenty. You know, you shouldn't need more than that. And again, it's just a great way to learn how to day trade without, with less risk. They're one of the most vetted, one of the most legit funded programs in the world right now. And so again, if you want to check them out, great way to help support the channel. Their Top Step X platform is really, really nice. Really, really nice. And yeah, check it out. I'll put the link up. Great way to help support your boy here on the channel. Here is the link right here. Everybody will be rich today. Yeah. You'd love to see it. It's really fun whenever like the haters show up on our big streams, like, they're just big mad, and it's going to hurt. Listen, if you don't like me, it's going to hurt because you're going to have to watch us keep growing larger and larger and larger, and it's going to sting, Cheers to you guys. Appreciate the growth, man. Honestly, the haters help me grow. Shout out to you guys. Market's up big. And honestly, you love to see it. I'm for it. I want a strong economy, a strong market. Maybe this will signal less need to cut rates. And I don't think we should cut rates personally. And so this kind of parrots what I think, which is that we should not cut rates. Yeah, cheers to the haters. Yeah. Yeah, we're kind of like hater rehab over here. Like, I'll ban them, but I also kind of feel bad for them, So, like, listen, hating on me is not going to solve your problems. Like, imagine watching somebody stream regularly just to dislike them, Hey, baby. Okay. All right, guys. So yeah, we have the Jackson Hole Symposium next week, right? So we got the Jackson Hole Symposium, which is a big report, right? This happens once a year. Jerome Powell comes out and speaks, and it's a huge, massive, massive report. We also have the Fed Minutes report next week. We have NVIDIA earnings in almost exactly 2 weeks, about a week and 6 days from now. We have NVIDIA earnings. Massive reports over the next 2 weeks. These things are going to dictate what happens in the economy and market, in my opinion, especially NVIDIA earnings, but also Jackson Hole and Jerome Powell's speech there. I think these are massively important reports, massively important. How can you have haters? Yeah, everything we do here is free. I don't have any paywalls behind content. I've literally been right about a majority of the CPI reports as they drop. I tell people I'm not even a good trader, So again, if people dislike me, they're probably somebody I know in real life that like creates fake accounts and like is so insecure about me doing okay that they just kind of can't control themselves and they just lash out, right? Like realistically, that's probably what it is. And again, I kind of got to pity it. I feel bad for them. I really do. Like I genuinely feel bad. It's all right. Moment of silence for them. Anyways. Hey, thank you, Will. I appreciate it. There's Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin dropping? That might be it too, Nick. Who knows, bro? Definitely top 3 worst trading channel in the world right now. Bitcoin is popping up. It's at 59K, almost 60K right now on a 1 minute chart. Top 3 not good traders. Dang, bro. Top 3 goodest bad traders in the world right now. Hey, thank you, Nas, for the subscription. Yep. All right, guys. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm back. Hey, buddy. Love you, man. Have a good day. Love you guys. The report is good for the economy. Yeah, so again, this report is good for the economy. Good economics data, good reports. Yeah, so most money is made in bear markets and red days. I think buying the dip's a powerful thing. People make fun of buy the dippers. Like, I'm the top 3 greatest buy the dipping trader in the world right now. People make fun of them, but honestly, it's one of the highest edge things you could do in the stock market. You know, the stock market's going to go up long term. You know, I say this and somehow it's controversial. It's going to go up long term, right? It's not an arguable, controversial thing. I'm not even saying how long I mean by long term. What I mean is, like, over a 20-year period, the market is almost certainly going to go up. When you zoom out longer, it's absolutely going to go up. And so if you've got time and you're not retiring imminently, buying the dip on big dips, it needs to be large dips, is one of the single best edge things that you could do. And this should not be controversial. The fact that so many people argue with me about this genuinely shows how, like, day traders have made people think that, like, in movies like The Big Short, I guess, Michael Burry, have made people think that shorting is somehow a higher edge system of trading than investing long term. You can literally buy index funds, sit on them, and get greater returns than almost all day traders, almost all swing traders, you know, almost all shorters. You're going to have better returns just buying dips, buying index funds on pullbacks, you know. Oh, it can go sideways for a decade. We can go down for almost a decade too. But regardless of that, we're still going to go up long term. That's gold. So gold is falling down because the economy was stronger than expected, right? So less people need to hedge against gold, or hedge with gold, I should say. And so the market's running up a little bit. Do you think the market goes high or low right now? So far the market's reacted very positively to this data. No need for a rate cut, guys. Yeah, I'm not a big rate cut pusher, but I think if it's just 25, it's fine. But if it's more than that, there's problems. Again, I think we need a restrictive monetary policy. Like, you hear people, and the argument is always, but what about real estate? Guys, what about real estate? Like, dude, all right. And so again, like, home prices have gone up so much in 5 years, 6 years. So this is data from the Fed, which is the Federal Reserve Economic Data, the Federal Housing Finance Agency. All right. So the average home price in 2019 was $321. Quarter 2 of 2020 was $327. Quarter 2 of 2021 was $374. Quarter 2 of 2022 was $440. Right? And so we since pulled back a little bit. But this pullback is absolutely freaking necessary. It's necessary to happen. We need this to happen. It's important that it does happen. The market needs to correct. It needs to pull back. We need to maintain a high interest rate environment. And the economy, listen, if the economy was hella weak, it'd be one thing, right? But the only argument for weakness that we get is high inflation, right? Which is the opposite of an argument for it. And I think today's retail sales data was much higher than expected. Jobless claims were much lower than expected. These are all good for the economy. I just don't think we should cut. Right, 100%. If rate cuts are, like, if we get rate cuts, the real estate market's going to go up more. And it's already unsustainable now. You know, people are complaining about high prices, but then somehow they get convinced that rate cuts are the solution to high prices. And it's one of the most ridiculous things right now. Like, everybody, you hear people say, oh, we need rate cuts. What about real estate? We need rate cuts. And it's like, what do you think's the consequence of rate cuts, guys? Inflation. One of the most obvious correlations. You're going to get inflation spikes. Yeah, 25 is fine. As long as it's not sustained 50, 75 basis points meeting to meeting, then that's okay. Anyways, we're starting to get a little pullback. The market's up a lot, though. Yeah, Nike running big. All right, guys. So are you guys big believers in inversion thinking? Do you guys know what inversion thinking is? So inversion thinking, like, usually people start at the beginning here, right? Usually people start at the beginning here, and they work on building up in steps towards different goals, right? Building up, building up, building up. Well, inversion thinking is the opposite. It's starting here instead, and then figuring out how to start all the rest of it, right? So it's switching the path that you look at it. You start from what you want, and then you figure out how to build it. It's hard to explain, but essentially it's a problem-solving technique. You tackle problems backwards, and so instead of focusing on success specifically, you identify what leads to failure and avoid it. There's this way of doing it. Think about all the bad things that could happen, worst case scenarios, and then try to figure out how to avoid those situations. Elon Musk uses this a lot. Charlie Munger uses this a lot. He said, quote, avoiding stupidity is easier than seeking brilliance, right? So basically, just try not to be dumb, you know? As humans, we're better at seeing threats than opportunities, just human nature-wise. Like, the way our brains think, they're better at seeing risks than they are at seeing opportunities. And so in that regard, your brain is going to have an easier time spotting the risks over the potential success, the potential successes, I should say. So by inverting that thinking, you can help, like, tackle more complex things with very easy solutions, you know. Is Disney moving up? Yeah, Disney up to 87s. Rates are killing my line of work, but I agree. Yeah, I mean, if you're in real estate, obviously you're, like, lending, you know. You know, because, again, like, I've noticed this trend, right? Like, a lot of real estate agents, a lot of lenders, they did really, really, really well late 2020, early 2021. Throughout 2021, really, a lot of them made so much money doing it, right? And they had this huge surge of business. They made bank. They loved it. And then the Fed pivoted to a restrictive monetary policy stance, you know. So the Fed pivots and they raise interest rates, and so a lot of their business kind of fizzled, and that they're upset about it, of course, right? And a lot of the time people, like, misery loves company. Like, people try to drag anybody else down. And so a lot of times they lash out at, like, I've had them lash out at me. Like, people I know have lashed out at me and all this other stuff because they're so desperate to, like, stay afloat, you know. But we can't pander to those people. We just can't. Like, it's not smart. We have to be smart about it. And we have to recognize the real risks are inflation. Inflation doesn't go down, right? So if inflation rises, you know, it's not going to decrease like this. You know, the best we can do is slow it down. So we want it to go like this. And it's not going to do that if rates are low. You know, inflation's going to get worse. It's going to get higher. Prices are not going to go back down. So, like, let's say you have a product that's $100, right? And say inflation spikes that price up to about $130. Very rarely will the price of that product ever dip below $130 again. You know, because inflation doesn't really go down. There's a couple exclusions here, but the point is, very rarely does inflation actually go down. And so, with that specific truth in mind, that should be our priority. You know, real estate's gone up enough. We don't need it to continue to go higher. Of course, lenders, real estate agents are going to argue, oh, that somehow we need massive rate cuts. But we don't. You know, we just don't. Where's Amazon at right now? I like Amazon. The PE ratio is just a little high for me, but it's gapping up big here on this data too. Here's Amazon on the right side. Gold's down. Amazon up to 175s. Are you learning Rust programming language? No. I don't need to, you know, like, again, AI is making it really easy. I mean, if I need to learn a language, I will. Because, I mean, the concepts are all the same. You got object-oriented, you got, you know, Boolean values, you got conditional statements, you know. Like, the concepts are all the same, just regardless of the language. But I'm always a JavaScript front-end guy. You know, I know Python, too, and I know some PineScript and ThinkScript and, like, stuff directly related to trading. But I'm not at the stage now in development where I need to learn new languages. If I really need to, I will, but I just don't. Was the unemployment data good? It was low, which is good, right? So it came in lower amount of people filing for unemployment than expected, which is great, right? You can see it on the screen. We showed up at 227 versus 235. Last time we showed up at like 230 or 233. So we came in lower than last time and lower than expected for claims. Which is great, and you can see the market just churning up here, pumping up from this report. I'm sure NVIDIA is kind of following it up at least a little bit. Yeah, so NVIDIA all the way up to almost 120s now, so big movements there. Do you think you can use jiu-jitsu in a real-life fight? Yes. For sure. You know, I mean, it's always, it depends, right? Like, it depends on what kind of fight, you know. I do jiu-jitsu not because it's self-defense. I mean, it is self-defense, and it certainly would help me in a real-life altercation. Most likely, at least. Maybe not certainly, but most likely. But I do it because it's fun. You know, it's kind of like a video game. Like, I'm super competitive as a person, and so I like doing it because it's fun to compete. I don't actually compete in competitions, but it's just fun to test yourself against other people, you know. Tesla charting up to Tesla at 205s right now, honestly. We have such a steep angle and rebounds here that it's starting to pop over the screen. Also, guys, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We got 235,000. I'm sorry. We got 144,000. We need about 500 subs to hit 145K. We're churning towards 150. I want 150. You know. Yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt. Like, again, a lot of it is mixing and punching as well. So, like, I know a little bit of boxing, a little bit of Muay Thai. Like, so it's not like I'm just useless with striking either, you know. I'm just better at grappling. Nike, yeah, Nike's up huge. Yeah, people always argue that this data is manipulated, and it might be, but we all, like, but that's no different than how it's been all throughout history. So those are the numbers we have to go by. You know, again, like, you have to understand it's really easy to get out of a wrong prediction by just saying the numbers are wrong or manipulated, right? You see it a lot with AMC, GameStop, Bed Bath and Beyond. Oh, it would have gone up if it wasn't for manipulation. It's kind of like Scooby-Doo. Like, I would have got away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids. Like, in the end, I think, like, maybe it is, but it's all we have to go off of, And I don't think we're in the current signs of a recession. People are really unhappy because of inflation. Right, that's the real reason they're unhappy. Sure, lenders might not be happy at 6%, 7% interest rates, but John versus Habib. Oh, dude, I would guillotine Habib in a heartbeat. Obvious sarcasm. Yeah, it'll be adjusted. Especially the GDP data will definitely be adjusted. The GDP data that dropped was something called the initial estimate, right? Which is the least accurate GDP data that drops is the first one, right? So over the next couple months, they're going to correct it and to more accurate wise. So again, I think next month's GDP is incredibly important, in all honesty. Yeah, it's an election year, 100%. Jiu-jitsu? Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll film a roll one day. I don't think I've ever filmed myself rolling with somebody. It's fun, man. I'm pretty good though. Like I'm not great. Like it's not like I'm tapping out black belts or anything. But Hamzat will submit Whitaker. I don't know, dude. Here's the problem with Hamzat, right? Hamzat's great. He's great, amazing grappling, okay striking, right? The problem with Hamzat is that his chin is high, and Whitaker has really good takedown defense. So Hamzat walks out there with a really high chin, and Whitaker's not the guy to do that with, So I think Hamzat's probably going to win, but if he somehow keeps his chin too high for Bobby Knuckles, he might not, it might not go well for him. So I think he's probable to win, but we'll see. Car markets. Yeah, I mean, car markets could use a correction. Real estate could use a correction. I'm okay with it. Yeah, me versus Gordon Ryan, dude. Gordon who? Yeah. No, I'm just joking. I like Gordon Ryan. He's a little bit too I like Craig Jones a lot more. Craig Jones is hilarious, and he's got the Invitational coming soon. I just like Craig Jones a lot more. He's a lot funnier. Craig Jones had the famous joke. Sambo. Sambo was invented like this. Two guys got together and started training jiu-jitsu and then said, hey, I wonder what happens if we take off our pants. And Sambo was born. Craig Jones, man. Funny. He's got that sarcastic humor. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can still use it in self-defense, though. Like you roll with people. Like we get people that come to class and they've never trained ever before. It's not even like it's very, very easy. Anybody that's trained like consistently for a year or whatever versus somebody brand new that's never trained, it's just completely different. Anyways, Tesla moving up. We're still waiting here, chat. We still got over 1,000 people here. Whatever happened to Mark Z versus Elon? Elon will get banged up, dude. Anyways, we got 3 minutes before 9 a.m. We'll see what happens. Market's up a lot. I might start shorting here, to be honest. I might start shorting. Elon is way bigger than Mark. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. He's way bigger. He's also much older and he's slow. No offense to Elon. Look, Elon's a genius, and I think smarts do play a factor. Like jiu-jitsu is like chess, right? So you're like, but I think Mark Zuckerberg is incredibly smart too. People don't give him enough credit for it, regardless of anything good or bad he's done. And I think Mark would have a pretty easy time with Elon. To be completely honest, like, listen, I roll against older people that are a lot bigger than me all the time. Some of them are higher belts. It's just different. The younger person just has a lot of advantages. They're faster. They you do have old man strength, but yeah. Anyways, where's Meta? Speaking of Mark, where's Meta? Nvidia up there. Meta up to 530s. Yeah, old man strength is real, and again, I'm getting older, so I wouldn't even call myself a young person anymore, right? And I think a lot of older people want to believe that they would still compete with the young guys, that they've still got it. The truth is, you slow down a lot when you get older. Your chin goes. You retain some power, sure, but it's just not the same thing, especially once you break, like, I would say early 40s, like after your early 40s. It's just different. Like, you can roll like a blue belt, a young early 20s blue belt is usually going to demolish like a 40-something purple belt or higher. Even brown belts, right? Like, so it's just different. It really is. It's the first thing, like, and you can see it in the UFC as well, right? I think as fighters get older, once fighters hit like 35, really, they start to fade. Their chin starts to go. They start to lose speed. They start to lose everything. And so unless you get on some type of, replacement therapy thing, you're going to slow down. It's normal. It is what it is. Life catches up with all of us. All right, guys. SPY up to 550s right now. 550 is pretty big psychological level. It's right there. Pretty big psychological level. Hey, what's up, 7? Hey. Yeah, 40's still young, though, brother. You are humble. You're still young. I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm getting there, All right, Amazon at 175s. Bitcoin's still dipping down, though, so Bitcoin is falling some here. think the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight will happen. No, it shouldn't happen. You know. It shouldn't happen. I don't want to see Jake beat Tyson. You know. But he would, and anybody that thinks he wouldn't is just confirmation bias, is overpowering logic in their brain. You know, I don't like Tyson's great, but he's 60 years old. You know, yeah. Who? X? I'm not sure who that is, bro. Yeah, I have no idea who this is. Are you saying I look like him? I've heard a lot of you look like X person. I've heard, again, I've heard Forrest Griffin. I've heard, Paul Felder. I've heard Forrest Griffin. I've heard Paul Felder. There's also some guy that plays the piano and sings that they say I look like. I can't remember who it is. And I've heard like Ryan Felipe a lot as well, you know, which I'll accept that one. I've also, like I said, I've heard Forrest Griffin though, which kind of hurts to hear, but you know, I guess I'm okay with it. You think I look like Sandhagen? I don't think I look like Sandhagen. Corey? He's got red hair, doesn't he? I guess I could kind of see it, but... This is Corey Sandhagen right here. Beast of a fighter. Although he just lost to one of the grapplers. I think he lost to one of the Russians, right? I guess I could kind of see it. I actually do have red in my beard. You can't really see it in chat, but I do have red in there. Anyways, market's bouncing back again here. SPY up to 549s. Still under 450s or 550s. Again, the Q's almost up to 469s. We got to watch. Walmart still green, almost up to $75 a share. Again, Nike pretty big. It's at 82.20s now. We also got, what else? We got gold still negatively reacting, I think, dropping down a lot. Was close to all-time highs, though. Ed Sheeran? I don't have red hair. I have brown hair. Yeah. You thought I was the guy from Lincoln Park? That's him, right? Really? He thought I was the Lincoln Park lead singer? Yeah. I don't know. I don't see that one. Maybe I just don't want to see it. No offense to him. Tesla at 205s. Let me change the subject. Nah. Yeah, hit the live button next to the play button, Thomas. I think you're a little bit back in the stream. Hit the live button next to the play button, brother. ETH, the obvious play. Where's ETH right now? ETH at 2600s. Alibaba, These guys are fluffing you up, John. I know, man. They're saying Tom Selleck, bro. How dare you? Like, don't disrespect Tom Selleck in that way, okay? Yeah. I love hummus. If you're ever in Baton Rouge, go to a place called Syrup's Express. Right, Syrup's Express, some of the best food. Albosh's is good too. All of them are good, you know. My hair looks red. It's not. I think you're probably like seeing a reflection from the fire. My hair's brown, you know. Yeah, I showed you guys this pic. This is me and the fam from the beach. We just went to the beach. It's kind of a grainy picture. I can't get it to put out a better picture than this. Look at gold dumping down here. Gold at 2470s. You know. I love my wife being short because it makes me look so tall even though I'm not, you know. I show people this picture. They're like, how tall are you, bro? I'm like, I'm not that tall. My family's just short. I love them, though. You know, I love them. All right, we're going to get ready to trade here, guys. We got 10 minutes. Let's trade. We'll do this. Yeah, we got this big run up. I don't know what I want to do with this yet. All right, we got this first little dip. It needs to dip more for me to buy it. I'm like 5'11", you know. Hey, nice. Yeah, I hope Tank wins. Tariq. Data saved my account. No, I'm great. Yeah, the data did save everybody, I think, here too. To be honest, I'm gonna short this, believe it or not, and I'm gonna add to this too. It's a risky position because I can't get like everything turned on me. All right, so we got 4 contracts. We're flat. We're gonna add some more 6 contracts here. All right, took half off, locked it in. Take some more off there. 1 contract left. We're up about 40 bucks. I'll probably short it on another bounce if I can, but I'm gonna cover this and then maybe get ready to add. So we're up 33 bucks on the day. Small little scalp. Add right back to it. 4 contracts again. Half off. 2 contracts left. And we do scalp in the morning, so we're taking fast trades because we can. All right, so we just gave some back here. Yeah, Mr. Young. Yeah, my wife's short. It's all right. You know. I love her. So is my daughter. My daughter's mad at me right now. But I think sometimes as a dad, your kid's got to be mad at you. You know. She'll be all right. So I buy my daughter's phone. I buy her cell phone. I pay for a phone plan. And like, she's been stressed out because she's starting school. So she's been super disrespectful, right? Like, first of all, she wants me to go wake her up every morning. You know, every single morning she wants me to go wake her up, which is fine, you know. She wants me to help her with her math homework. And I do all these things because I love her and I want her to succeed. But lately, she's been a little ungrateful. She's been kind of rude and just kind of mean. Like yesterday, she was so stressed about getting to school on time. What I ask her in return is once she's up to get the whole family to come, like, say good morning to me so I can see my family in the morning, you know. And she just didn't tell him that yesterday. And she even said she knew she wanted to, but, like, yeah, so she's just being really kind of spiteful. She gets stressed for school. Anyways, today I took her phone away. You know, and I took my son's video games away too. My son had a couple freakouts yesterday, so you just gotta withdraw resources if they act that way. Now they're both kind of mad at me. They'll be all right. I'm gonna short this too. I like this little negative rejection here. They still came and gave me hugs, but you could tell they just were not happy with me. Thus is the life of a dad. Anyways, we're gonna add some. We're trying to take some more risks in these accounts. We're flat, 6 contracts. I'd love a little bit larger breakdown here so I can make some more money. 6 contracts. There we go. All right, we took half off just to protect it, I guess. I like the breakdown, though. Hey, nice, Chuck. Congrats, dude. She's 15. My son's 10. All right, there we go. We'll hold on to 1 contract so we can maybe add to it, see if we get a little larger edge here. By adding to it, there's 3 contracts. There we go. We're up about $60 on the day. We'll hold on to a couple contracts. Same concept here. There we go. Take half off. Hold on to 1 so we can keep adding to it if we need. All right, so there we go. We're up $70+ on the day. That's nice. Yeah, you gotta, you know, you gotta follow through. I try to be a good dad. Like, if I feel like I'm wrong, like if I snap at my kids, for instance, right? It's inevitable. It's going to happen every now and then. I try to always show them that I will apologize if I do. Like, if I snap at them, I'll go up and I'll say, hey, look, I probably shouldn't have snapped. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. You know, and I think it's good and healthy for them to see people apologize. Again, I know a lot of people that refuse to apologize about anything, refuse to ever admit they're wrong. And so I want my kids to grow up without that type of thing. Like, they need to understand everybody's wrong sometimes. Everybody, you know. Every parent's going to snap occasionally, you know, as long as you recognize it and, you know, get better as art, you know. Anyways, we still got a little breakdown, slightly downtrending market. I just think we had this big positive reaction, and now we're just sitting tight. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to enable my kids, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to enable them. Like it's hard to explain. So like my family, when I was growing up, again, I lived a very frugal life, right? Like my dad didn't buy me a lot of name brand stuff, you know, had Walmart shoes a lot of the time. If I wanted money, I had to work for it, you know, like I had to cut the grass, I had to do whatever, you know, and work for it. I wasn't ever just given money, like that. As a kid or even as like a teenager or anything, you know, I just was very rarely given money. My dad helped me out when I was young or when I was like a teenager as well, some for sure. I'm not trying to say he was smart, right? And I think this was good. But because of that, I grew up and I was entrepreneurial and I wanted to make my own money. I think what I fear for my kids is like if you're given too much, you don't respect money in that way. And I think you have to respect it, you know. And so I just want my kids to respect money, and my fear is that we give them too much to where they're going to get older. They're going to be, I just hope they're not, you know. I mean, it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Texas, so. Hey, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, gold, still pretty interesting to watch. Here's gold right here. Gold at 2,500 bucks. Again, here's Nvidia. Watching Nvidia in gold, and then the Nasdaq on the left side. Yeah, for sure, pawn. Maybe it's something, dude. Yeah, hey, thank you, Benson. I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, so this guy's trying to say that I don't care if my daughter's late. Of course I don't want her to be late. Of course I want her to care about school, right? But there's a difference between being that way and, again, she's teenage daughter, right? Like, they're almost programmed to dislike their fathers. You know, I love her. She's a good kid. She really is a good kid, right? But every now and then, you gotta be a parent, and that's what I'm doing. You know, it's necessary. Like you can't enable your kids too much to where they grow up unappreciative and entitled, you know. And again, I don't think my kids are necessarily like that. I think every kid tests their parents in that way, and my kids are good kids for the most part. But yeah. Dollar index climbing. Yeah, the dollar index is probably climbing up a little bit on this pullback here, but I think if the market continues to go up, the Dixie will probably fall. Although the economic data, okay, so actually this data showed positive reactions here. I guess because it was higher retail sales. Higher sales data means stronger dollar. So I think we're back to good as good scenario now. A lot of the times the Dixie over the past few years has inversed the market, but I guess right now it's different because things are back to normal. Yeah, you know, I think you buy things like I buy things for my kids, like phones, all this stuff, you know, and I think they start to take it for granted. And so they start getting kind of weird and spiteful and rude and disrespectful and like, you know, not wanting to do chores and like all that stuff. And this is normal parenting stuff. And then you got to take those things away, let them realize like, hey, these people are doing all this stuff for me. Let me behave. Let me act right. And then you give it back. And then, you know, it's good for a while, and then later down the line it happens again, and you got to do it again. And it's just parenting. That's parenting 101. It's normal. You know, it's all good. They're good kids. Like I said, they're good kids. Buy them a Lambo? Nah. I'm going to buy my kids a freaking Volvo. I don't want them to be a sports car. I never understood parents who buy their kids sports cars. Right, like, dude, I remember what kind of driver I was at 16, and it wasn't a good one, you know? And so am I going to give them a freaking rocket ship on wheels? Of course not. I'm going to buy them the safest, slowest, heaviest car they could ever drive. I'm getting them a Volvo or something. Maybe that or like a huge truck, you know? Something that they're not, you know, the risk isn't there. Definitely not a Pinto. Pintos catch on fire if you get a hit from behind in those things. Definitely top 3 ever in the world. Cybertruck? Nah, too expensive. I love my kids, but their first car, they're going to beat up. Everybody does that with their first car. It's normal. It's inevitable. I'm not going to say my first car because there's too many like questions about it that it's giving away too much. But I was a big Subaru WRX person, though. I love Subaru WRXs. Never had one. I always wanted one. Now a freaking, stock EV will destroy a STI, but still. Yeah, I mean, I learned on a standard and a 5-speed. All right, guys, so we got this little flag pattern here in broad markets, the NASDAQ and futures here. You can kind of see it. Here's the flag. This is why they call it a flag. It's because it looks like one. There's the flag pattern that you can see on the chart. We'll see what happens here moving forward. We're waiting. 6 minutes until the opening bell, chat. We'll see. Also, guys, if you want to check out Top Step, again, check out Top Step, funded account program in futures. They give you a demo. They test your skill with the demo account first. They've got a lot of really nice rules that allow you to really make money once you're funded. A little bit harder to get funded, but great rules, right? They give you a demo. The base one, they give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3,000 without losing 2,000 first and following their rules, they fund you 50K, 90% split. They've paid out tens of millions of dollars. They're one of the most legit programs in the world, and the rules are great for them, honestly. And again, if you want to check them out, here's the link. Great way to help support your boy here in this channel. A great way to learn how to day trade. Honestly, most day traders lose. It's a lot cheaper to lose here than to put up $5,000 and lose that. And in the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ. I think you trade some currencies on Top Step, gold. And so regardless of whether you like futures, stocks, the patterns are very similar. You can trade a lot of the same things. No PDT rule. It just makes sense to learn day trading in futures. Check it out here. Yeah, I think we have a short-term downward trend, though, here, right? So we can see this here. But we have a long-term upward trend. So it depends on how you look at it. Short-term, we're definitely in this little mini trend. But I don't know if it's going to continue. Patience, young ones, we'll see. Gold up to $2,500 a share almost. I love those old Camaros. I was a tuner guy, so I grew up in like tuner culture. So my favorite car growing up was I had a couple of them. I liked the old Acura NSXs. I liked 300Z twin turbos. I liked RX-7s, rotaries. I liked again Subarus. I liked VTEC, Hondas, JDM cars a lot. Those are like my favorite cars. Worked them a little bit, raced them a little bit, had fun. Knew a lot of people that would race with me and just have fun with them. What kind of GST are you talking about? You look like a GST guy. What kind? Yeah, for sure. I grew up. Fast and Furious came out when I was young, and like I saw that movie when I was a kid, and like wanted to be in that movie. You know? Oh nah. Definitely not a GST guy. I had Honda mostly, like VTEC. So VTEC is valve timing. It's It keeps the valves open a little bit longer at like a specific RTM, so you get more fuel and air sprayed in, which equals more power. It was fun. A lot of people acted like it was a turbo, but it wasn't. You know, you got more air and fuel, but different mechanism. But it was fun, man. I always love VTEC cars. I don't even know if they have them nowadays. Again, an EV right now is going to smoke almost everything in cars right now. Like, you could buy the fanciest supercar ever with the ICE, but an EV stripped is going to destroy it most likely. So it's a tough time for automobiles right now. Market's starting to push up, testing highs ahead of the opening bell. We got about a minute and a half. You mean 3,000 GTs, Daphne? All right, guys, here we go. And we got 1 minute, chat. 1 minute. Market's pumping up. We got a little bit of a cushion heading into the open, a small cushion. All right, we're pumping up a little bit. Spy up to 550s almost. And here's the opening bell, guys. Let's see what we get. Again, subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the notification bell. We're moving up a little bit. All right, so there's the opening bell here, guys. We're watching gold and NVIDIA charts. Here's gold on the right side. MU is held. All right, guys, we're up there. NASDAQ's up there testing highs. Again, Tesla all the way up to 206s here, pumping up. SPY testing highs as well. Again, I think the market likes this economic data that we had this morning. MU is held. Q getting slapped. We're dipping down a little bit. Nothing. NVIDIA has fallen all the way $1 a share. So NVIDIA has fallen a little bit under 1% in the first minute at the opening bell, but it's starting to rebound. That short term dragged the NASDAQ back down some too. So it's still too early to tell what happens here, but yeah, that's kind of what went down. Tesla flying up, guys. Look at Tesla. So gold's still down a little bit. If you look at Tesla chart, Tesla all the way up to 208s, 209s here. So huge movement on Tesla. SPY tested highs and just broke. NASDAQ did too. I'm going to short. I'm a little bit late in shorting, and it's a little bit too close to the opening bell, actually. So I'm going to cut it with a little $15 gain and then wait. A little bit too close. I got to wait a couple minutes before we trade. Jobless data was better than expected economics-wise, Emmanuel. So it came in lower than expected, which means less people filed for unemployment than expected. Retail sales showed strength, so the economy was stronger than expected per the economic data that dropped. All right, guys, Tesla charting up. Tesla almost up to 210, so Tesla has had a full-blown rebound here. John, do you have any opinion, not being liable, just an opinion? DC stocks going up in September. September is always known to sell, but they will cut 25 for 100%. But again, it could dump it. Yeah, again, really, Corey, again, I'm going to preface it, as I always do, not an investment professional. I'm not liable. I have no idea what's going to happen. I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional, not liable. If you lose, make your own assessment. I do trade off stream. Understand CFTC 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. Now that I'm done covering my butt, I don't know. I really don't know, right? Like, the question is, how does the market respond to a rate cut? And I think it depends on how much of a cut. If it's 50 basis points, the market might dump, right? Why does the market dump on 50 basis points? Because I think it's going to show more fear regarding the economy than expected. If it's 25, I think that's kind of like a neutral outcome here. And so how the market will respond is up in the air. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit bearish in the stock market, to be honest. So I think the market can handle corrections or pullbacks. But I really don't know. And I hope it goes up. Like, I want the market to go up. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I think 50 is going to freak people out, but 25 is okay. Nvidia goes down quickly on open. Why does that happen? Profit taking, mostly. Nvidia all the way back up, though. So this actually looks strong. I'm going to buy this, add to it 2 contracts here, see if it holds up there, though. Big if. We got a cushion on the day, and so we got some time, but kind of flat, going back and forth. Big turnaround. I can add 1 contract to this. I'm kind of buying the high of the day, so I don't really like doing this, in all honesty. Usually I like taking the other direction. I just see Nvidia rising up, so we'll take the risks, but I'm not really happy about it, in all honesty. Can't really add any more to this either. We are spiking up a little bit. Let's see if we do. We'll cut it. We're out. So we're down a little bit now. We'll figure it out. Again, it's hard to tell. We're already up a lot. And so there could be momentum on the downside. We're at the top of the range. You know, Nvidia is going to be the end all be all of price action most of the time. So, but Tesla's also churning up too. So we'll see. Right at this little moving average level, we'll try to buy this dip and attack it too. There we go. Back in the green. We'll see if we can add to this. Get a larger gain. There we go. 2 contracts left. I don't know what I want to do with this. Well, now we're down. Take half off just to protect it. But yeah, we're right back up. We'll add to this now too. Start to test highs, which usually is strong. We'll cut that. Buy a little bit more. Cut it right immediately into it and then get out there. So we're right back up where we were. Up $75 on the day. Kind of going back and forth though. And I do see kind of like a lot of rangy action right now. I think a lot of people are pretty behind the stream. Hit the live button, guys. A lot of y'all are way behind. Y'all are talking about tapping. Jose, that's you. You're probably talking about what I was talking about, getting triangle choked earlier. Yeah, y'all are way behind. Hit the live button, guys. Catch back up. You're delayed. Yeah, honestly, I was talking to one of the other guys that I trade with, and he was talking about times that he almost went out. It's really interesting feeling, right? Like I was drilling with one of my coaches the other day, and I started to get this really warm, fuzzy feeling, which means you're probably about to go out. So I stopped him immediately, and you know, the only time I've gone out, like actually gone out, we were drilling something actually, and I was my coach's dummy, and I didn't tap quick enough with what's called a bow and arrow choke and a gi, and heard a reggae party in my head. Do 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 do. You know, heard reggae music in my head. It was kind of like rocking out in my head, and then I woke up and everybody was staring at me. So very interesting feeling there. Yeah, but also kind of scary too. Tesla up to 210s. We got this little dip. This looks like a bullish pattern, but I also think there's risks. What if there's no cutoff for what, Dar? Like, what are you talking about, brother? Be specific. Give us some context into what you're saying, brother. Oh, do you mean what if there's no cut? I'm assuming is what you mean. If there's no cut, it's going to shock the markets and probably be an optimistic thing. But who knows? Anything could happen. Predicting the outcome of rate decisions in that way is super up in the air. Not easily predictable, I would say. I think a cut, if it's a large cut, people are going to be freaked out. And so that'll probably cause negative reactions. But if it's a small cut or even if it's like a pause again, we don't know. We can only guess, and nobody knows. Again, it's really up in the air. It depends on what the economic data looks like over the next 30, 40 days before the next meeting is what ultimately depends on, what a lot of it depends on. Yeah, Tesla all the way up to 210s. Still trying to hold. I would buy it, but this is too high. So I'm just going to try to catch the top and short it. But I got to wait for extension that I think is there. And so it's kind of the no man's land. I don't really want to short it because we're right around highs of the day. I don't really want to long it because we're right around highs of the day. And so instead, I'll wait for corrections, pullbacks, signs of weakness or strength. That looks strong, but I think I'm a little late. All right, so we're going to buy this 2 dips, 4 contracts here. See if we can retrace back up. Start playing the range game is what we're looking for here. Flat. See if we go green. There we go. We slightly green for a second. I think we can still turn green now. There we go. Took half off there just to protect it. We got 2 contracts left. I'd rather smaller size there. If we go up, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. So I want to give it a little bit more time to go up here. We turned. Could have been a larger loss though, so that's good. But big turnaround. We'll buy this dip too though. Kind of been going back and forth a lot with these trades where we buy the dip. There we go. We're right back where we were now though. I don't want to add to this. There we go. Alright, so we're up about 90 bucks shorting, and we might actually buy it right back too with these 2 strength candles. There we go. Alright, so we up to $120 in profit. Catching this rebound. Jobs report, watch the next one, it'll tell you what. You mean the JOLTS report, Corey? We do have the Michigan consumer sentiment data tomorrow. Next week it's less economic data in the morning, more economic data in the afternoons. So like we have the Fed minutes report Wednesday, and I know we have the Jackson Hole data. Okay, so yeah, we got Jackson Hole Thursday. Kansas City Fed. I'm trying to see when does Jerome Powell speak? All right, so I'm looking up what days Powell's going to speak here. Alright, so yeah, Jackson Hole. I'm trying to find the transcripts or when he's going to actually speak. It's going to be held 24th through the 26th of August. So this is... Wait. This is from last year. Man, come on. So actually, it's going to be 22nd through 24th, which is Thursday through Saturday next week. I hope it's not on a freaking Saturday. All right, guys, market started to test highs. Tesla testing highs up there, too. Yeah, so again, a lot of people are saying Powell's going to talk about cuts next week. All right, so it'll probably be Friday of next week. Wednesday, we have the Fed minutes report also. Thursday, we got jobless claims numbers. Still a little iffy here. I'm going to short this. It's kind of risky, but we're going to try to build up some profit. There we go. We're up about $140 right now. $140 day trading. Pretty small, but still nonetheless. Yeah, we got the JOLTS report in a couple weeks. Nvidia's right here. Kind of boring. Looking at our poll numbers, we asked people, will today's economic data cause bullish or bearish action? 68% say bullish, so we did get bullish action. Amazon going up. Yeah, a lot of the market's up. We're going to get in flat action, though. I'm probably just going to go ahead and close it down, guys. So, again, check out Top Step if you haven't already. Top Step funded account program and futures. Great way to learn how to day trade, limit your risk. Try out a funded account program. If you lose, you're out $50. It's not the end of the world. It's a very small amount relative to what most day traders end up losing. But if you pass it, you get $50K in funding, 90% split. They pay out millions, fund thousands. Great way to learn how to day trade. They're a sponsor of mine. They pay me money. I'm biased because of it. But it's just a great way to learn how to trade, you know. Top Step X is actually really nice as well. And so again, if you want to check it out, here's the link. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Remember, they're sponsors. They pay me money. I'm biased because of it. Y'all have a great day. Oh, wait, let me leave this up a little bit longer. But yeah, Tesla up to 211s, almost 212s. NVIDIA flat. We've made enough money to where we're okay with the day so far. The Fed doesn't really speak today. I think we have, like, Harker maybe speaking. Let me make sure. Just for, you know, just to be completely safe here. Today is the 15th. I want to make sure we don't have any data coming out at 10. No, we don't have anything big. We got Harker speaking at 1. Nobody else really important, to be honest. So yeah, that's it. I'm out of here. Y'all be good. Love you all. Y'all have a great day.